This is how you open and alter your own tile. As you've done these drawings, I have been scanning them before you started coloring them physical ones and saving them in a folder that looks like this. This one's from period 3, but there are folders for every class in here, in each Google Classroom. So find your tile, and I'm just going to select a random one here because I'm on a student computer. Find your tile and download it by clicking one time on it, then going up to these 3 dots and selecting download. This will download your file to your laptop. Then we're going to open up another tab and go to Photopea.com. Once you're in Photopea, click on Open from Computer. And it'll show you on this PC every file that you have. If you click on Date Modified, it'll come right to the top. And again, I chose a random one, but yours should have your first initial, last name, and what period you're in on the file already. So I'm going to double click on this, and it's going to open up your tile. Notice that it's already flattened. That means there's only one layer, and it's currently called background. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click and drag the background layer onto this icon to duplicate the layer. Then I'm going to double click where it says layer 1 and change this to ink. So this is the one we're going to affect. We're going to leave this one alone for now. And then hit the Enter key on your keyboard to set that to ink. I'm holding the Control key down and I'm tapping the plus key on your keyboard because you'll notice that there's some lines in here that I don't necessarily want. See how there's some pencil lines in here? Again, Control plus. I'm going to hold the space bar down to get the hand tool. If that doesn't work, and if you can't drag it around, tap the letter H on your keyboard. Because what I want to do is I want to get rid of some of these very light lines and also this grayish background. The way you do that is hold the Control key down and tap the letter L. It'll bring up this dialog box. This is called levels. And what I'm going to do is, up here in this area, there's 3 dots or 3 squares. I'm going to pull the one on the right here to the left, and notice what happens to the colors or the shades on the screen. It's going to take most of the gray out of the picture and give me a very clear white background. Then I'm going to take the black one on the left and drag it to the right. And this is going to make your lines very black, almost completely black and white. Notice how the numbers changed on here. This one now says 150. This one says 203. I'm going to change 203 to 200. That should be a really good range of grays and blacks and whites. Then I'm going to click OK. And I'm going to change normal to darken. Notice how you can now see this background layer, because this is the bottom layer and this is the top layer. And all I've done is I've made this one more black and taken out those tones. On the background layer, I'm going to select this by clicking on it. I'm going to hold the Control key down and tap the number 0 on the keyboard to see the full screen. I'm going to go to the Select menu and select everything on the screen. Then I'm going to go to this paint swatch, click on this, select white, and click OK. Then I'm going to go to the Edit menu and select Fill. Fill it with the foreground color, which is white. So what that's done is that's made a white background just like we did, just like already existed on the other drawing. And now we've got an ink layer and a background layer. I'm going to add another layer above the background layer by clicking on this icon here. Double click where it says Layer 1 and call this Color. Back. This is where you're going to do most of your painting. I'm going to add another layer and call this one People by double clicking here. And hitting the Enter key. So this now has the same setup as the tile that you've been practicing on. The only difference is the lines in here are much thinner, so it's going to be a little more difficult to paint on this one. But you're going to paint this the same way that you painted the practice one. So remember, you're either going to be on the color background or the people layer. Select a color. Click OK. Control plus will zoom me in. I'm also going to set the people layer to darken. And you can play around a little bit with this, but basically what that does is that enables this color background and the people layer to sort of blend. Now all you're going to do is start painting the same way you painted on the practice one. Might be a little more difficult with your touch screen. If you make a mistake, remember the two keys that you want to remember when you're painting and erasing. The paint brush is the letter B. See where it says brush tool, and then in parentheses there's a B. The eraser tool is the letter E. The brush looks the same, but basically the difference between the two is tapping the letter B gives you the brush tool. If you make a mistake, tap the letter E, and then you can erase where you went outside the lines. Just like every other image you've been working on so far, I'm going to do Control 0 to see the whole page. Just like everyone you've done so far, make sure at the end of class to save as PSD. Make sure that it says your name here. I'm going to add a student. Remember, you are not Andrew Stewart Dent, but you are a student, and I'm going to add a hashtag on here just so that you can see. Remember, the hashtag is whatever period you have art, and the A student should be your first initial and last name. And notice that it automatically saves it in the downloads folder. So you're going to click save there. And then the last thing in Photopea is to export as a JPEG. And click save. It's the JPEG that you're going to put in your Google slideshow. I'm just going to open up a Google slideshow at random here. You should already have, oh, here's, this student already has one here, so I'll go ahead and put this in here. Remember that this should match your tile. So I'm going to click in here, change this to My Digital Tile. For now, you can delete this box. I'm going to go to the Insert menu, select Image, Upload from Computer. Remember that it's in the Downloads folder. And you can use that same thing I did before, which is click on Date Modified and it'll bring the most recent one up to the top. So click on that, select Open. And as you progress on this, just going to add some more color on here so that you can see. This is the expectation that I've been talking about for the past couple of weeks. The expectation is that every single day, as you progress on your file, I'm going to make the brush bigger by tapping the right bracket tool. I'm not worried about painting inside the lines. I'm just using this as an example. I'm going to do File, Save as PSD again, because remember, every single day you have to resave it. Click on Save. Yes, you want to replace it. File, Export as, JPEG, Save. And then at the end of the day, I'm going to go to Insert, Image, Upload from Computer. And this one will be a little bit newer. Notice how it says 6:56 a.m. This one says 6:54, so this one's the newer one. It also has the number 1 in parentheses afterwards. So this is saving every JPEG that's named the same thing with that little parentheses number 1. I'm going to click Open. And now I can show on my slideshow what I did the first day, saved the file and placed it, what I did the second day, and each successive day after that. This shows me that you've been working diligently on your file, and I can see the day-to-day progress on your Photopea tile for this project. Remember that you can refer back to this video as often as you need to. As I progress with this, I can select this, make sure I spell tile correctly, and I'm just going to put day 1 and 2. Then I can select all of this text, copy it, Control-C, select it in here, and paste it in here and change it to 3 and 4. That way, however many days it takes me to do this, I can see your daily progress. So continue that same process by adding the tile each day. This was the same thing that we have been trying to do for our physical tiles as well. So by now you should have 5 or 6 pages showing your progress with 2 tiles on each page of your drawing, your inking, your coloring, etc. And the same thing on the digital file. And always remember that you can pause this video and go back and forth between the file in Photopea and this video so that you can continue working on your assignment.